Foreboding. A feeling that something bad is going to happen. A presentiment, a portent, particularly of something evil. Damn it. This is Luthier's Tips, Tools and Training from Crimson Guitars. I'm Ben Crow, and this video is brought to you by Powdered Brass. I built this instrument quite a long time ago, and she's very heavy. For one, she sucked up a couple of kilograms of finish. It is bog oak, which is about 5,000 odd years old, gold leaf and resin, and well, we had fun. And as a result, we've had quite a few people commission us to make replicas. And in the process of experimenting with that, this was a prototype, far lighter, still oak, but not bog oak, and also not full of cavities and crevices that just sucked all of the resin that we threw at it, and then all of the finish on top of that when we thought we'd actually sealed it with resin. We want light guitars, we want resonant guitars, we do not want something that is attractive, that weighs more than a small child. Burn it. In the last few videos I have added some carving, which you can see here, and used acid to patinate the wood to create this black finish, and now I need to highlight the carving. I've been saying gold leaf this entire time, but that's not actually what I had in the back of my mind, so I don't know why I was saying gold leaf. Foreboding. A feeling that something bad is going to happen. A presentiment, a portent, particularly of something evil. Damn it. I'm going to use brass powder and fish glue and some agate. Now the plan is to highlight each of these divots and these with the brass powder, and then potentially and probably cover this entire disc, leaving where I've carved in here black. And to do that I'm going to use some fish glue. This is a natural collagen based I think glue. It's used from boiling fish bits, sturgeons, etc. And I'm going to use that to glue down some crimson inlay powder. That will then be burnished and shiny. And we know how crows like shiny things. Yeah. And this one likes texture as well, so I'm not after perfectly flat surfaces. I could use resin for this, and that is what most people would do. But I'm trying to avoid plastic-based products where possible. A lot of guitar building is skill-based, experience-based, is fairly, I'm not going to say difficult, but it requires knowledge. And then every now and then you get something like this that basically looks and feels like the sort of thing that a 4-year-old will do in preschool. I like that juxtaposition. If I'm being honest, I'm acting like a kid. You've got to get your finger in there and get messy. So I just need to press the layer of powder down and make sure that it's absolutely impregnated where I want it to be. And then it's just a case of waiting for that to cure. And now I need to not stick my finger up my nose. I've changed to a little rectangular, spade-shaped nylon brush, which seems to be doing the job better. Worth doing. That is Bear sending me a message. This is fun. Now this section, well, I'm not so sure about. This may go absolutely as easy as pie, or could really go the other way. Now, any glue that ends up on the flat surface, I'm hoping I'll be able to scrape off once it's dry without affecting the underlying finish. But what I'm doing is going in with my finger before I put the powder on and trying to get rid of it in the initial stages. I don't want to dilute the glue. I want it to be, well, I want it to have maximum stick. Fingers crossed. There will almost certainly be some places where I have to go over and add more. And I'm too excited to slow down. I really should. Now, any of these holes that are filled with glue, that is not a problem. I can very easily go back in there and recarve, clean out. Hell, I can add more stain, etc. In fact, I'm probably going to have to do that anyway, just because there's going to be brass powder in there. Okay, so I want texture, but if I have paintbrush lines, I want them to look like grain. This is the never-ending bottle. Huh, nearly there. We're about there at this point. I haven't refilled it. I was sure I would run out at a very inconvenient moment, but that hasn't happened. At this point, I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to let this cure overnight, and we will go from there. If I can ever stop fiddling, which is unlikely. I have no self-control. It's all right. I've got like 14 other projects on. This has been curing for just over 24 hours. It is time to let the gold dust fly. I put a mask on. Heavy particles, some of it's still aerosolized, so as we thought, some of these areas are going to need a little bit of cleanup on the top, but that's not a problem. This is solidified and is doing what we want it to do. So the plan here is to take something and burnish the brass. Now, this here is an agate stone, an agate burnisher. It's used for gilding, for paper restoration, etc. And this is not the agate burnisher I need. The agate burnisher I need is nowhere to be found. I haven't got the foggiest idea. I know I've seen it recently, but hey, on to something else. I'm very lucky in that I've got a lot of tools. This beastie this beastie is even cooler. This here is a hematite burnishing tool. This was a gift from, well, this and its brothers and sisters was a gift from Ruth Tappan, the gilder extraordinaire, and is very hard and achieves the same sort of result. I've also rated my jewellery collection. This is a little quartz heart that has the same effect. For now though, on this flat section, I'm going to use the bit of agate that I do have and rack my brains as to where the other one is. I'm not expecting this to be pristine at this point. I'm probably going to rip some of this up. I'm probably going to need to apply more brass powder, but I want to see how far we can go. Amethyst, people. Go on, in the comments, let rip. This is a very cool, very cool process. And it's working. Touch wood. Of course I did tests. I did a few tests. And I hoped it would work. I hoped it would do what I thought it should do. But I'm still very happy that it has. Okay, so I think, yeah, I've burnished through in that area there. Obviously not quite enough glue there, but that's not a problem. Or potentially too much glue, and I've just gone straight through the surface. Yeah, I've gone through there again. So basically there was a bubble of glue, I think, with brass powder on the top of it, and I've just burst through that bubble because I didn't compress it down enough. There was just too much glue in that particular spot, but we can go back and fix that in a second. This is taking time, but I'm absolutely loving the process. Oh, I went too far, or it had too much glue. So there is tidying up. This is not going to be done, completely done today, but that's not a problem. Not a problem at all when the result is going to be this cool. So I just finished that bit, looked over my shoulder, and sitting here was the agate burnisher that I've been looking for days, literally days. It's got this lovely little bit. It's a little bit rough, so go in with a diamond file and finesse the shape. Agates are very hard and relatively easy to smooth, which is why they're used for this sort of thing. But you can shape them and repolish them. So that, little bit of silicon carbide, make sure that there's no scratches or hard bits or irregularities, and crack on. Do that, and then finally you hit it with a strop. And yeah, so what you can do now is go and buy, I don't know, one of those agate eggs or something, and chop it up and make your own tools, if you need this sort of tool, that is. I mean, you've just watched this video, so you are 100% going to be doing something like this at some point, and before you ask, you can finish an entire guitar like this, and then chrome plate it. You get what I'm laying down? Yeah, you get what I'm laying down. I personally suspect that there are a few other ways that you could chrome plate or gold plate, for example, a guitar in a home workshop. And could be fun to play with that at some point on the channel. What do you think? I think I got distracted and missed the silicon carbide step and went straight to this. Naughty Ben. Evening has come and I can't stop until this is done. But the good thing is, in the artificial light and without natural daylight, it's looking even cooler. Finding all the spots where there's too much glue. So that one had far too thick of an application. This is a learning process. I've never done this before. Yeah. Not perfect, but not a bad first pass. Not a bad first pass at all. It is official. I am one happy bunny. It's nearly Easter, isn't it? I've been saying gold leaf this entire time. But that's not actually what I had in the back of my mind, so I don't know why I was saying gold leaf. And there is where shit went sideways. This whole video, in fact, for the last couple of videos on this guitar, I've been saying I'm going to gold leaf that, while talking to the client and saying I've got something really cool in mind, like gold leaf, that's going to be involving metal powder. But saying I'm going to gold leaf it meant that the process that I followed was for gold leafing. And we oiled the guitar, and the gold leaf size would stick to that fine. No problems whatsoever. What doesn't stick to that is the fish glue. Of course, I immediately, well, I stopped work, went home, had some food, came back here, grabbed the guitar, went and sat and watched a movie and carried on working in it. And because I have no self-control, and bits and pieces start falling off because while I had sanded inside these holes, I hadn't removed enough of the oil. I have, in the last couple of days, redone a lot of this work, but also have learned a few more methods and things, and come up with one of my favorite textures of all time. So, well, let's have a look. Needless to say, this is going to be a two-part video, and in fact, I'm not here this week, so the next video on the channel is potentially actually going to be Matt and Sam playing with relicking. Get out your pitchforks, why don't you? And here we are. Now, I've left this so I can demonstrate the new process. Texture is what we're after, and in the process I've decided that actually what I want to do is have each one of these external divots be pretty close to mirror polished, and I'm going for a much smoother finish, and it's actually requiring the addition of quite a bit more of the material. There's been a lot of scraping and scratching and messing around, so I am going to be sanding down this entire top and very carefully, very carefully re-oxidizing the wood and getting the finish back. I should have done it this way in the beginning. And this is one of the things about this channel. Stuff goes wrong when you are trying new things. Sometimes it's not the new thing that goes wrong, it's something that you always knew. Glue doesn't stick to oil finish. What the hell then? It went wrong, but it's taught me more about this material in this process. These are little pieces that have fallen out. They do act quite a lot like metal. This is quite a lot like cold cast brass. Essentially it is, just not using resin. You cannot polish it when you're using the fish glue. You cannot polish this with a machine. It obviously melts. And I did that for fun, just to confirm the thought. But what you can do is apply multiple coats of it before it cures. This is not perfectly sanded. I want as much coarseness as possible so that it will grab on. I do need to add more into this one as well. So we might as well do that at the same time. Powder, compress, and in this case I am trying for something a lot smoother. Another coat of glue. And this is homogenizing the whole thing. And we go and add more dust. Same process. And this is something that I didn't do on some of the surfaces earlier and ended up with a fairly gnarly area. Now, for this demonstration, basically clear it off. I have been adding 3 or even 4 coats into these holes because of the finish that I want, which is very smooth. But what I've learned is that you can also use, well, all sorts of things to get the shape that you want, and you can very gently burnish and shape and sculpt. Now I'm doing this a little bit too early in the process. It's not quite dry enough. Give it 5 minutes or so, which I will do now, to start going off and essentially plasticize, I suppose, metallicize. Didn't have enough glue on that edge. I love this sort of thing. I really just love playing around. This is acting like clay at this point. In fact, I'm burnishing it and polishing it with my fingers. Look at that. I've been using a bronze tool to shape as well. And remember, this is nowhere near dry yet. I've also been using mini scrapers a lot. Now, this one here, it's not at the exact shape that I want. There's still some ripple. It was a very coarse substrate that I was working on. It needs a couple more coats. But another tool that comes in handy here is a riffle file. And basically, even now, 2 minutes after putting the glue in. That's 2 minutes Ben Crow time and probably 5 minutes real time. I'm sure there's a mathematical formula. And there I've got a very cool surface. It's still curing more, so burnishing away with a steel doming tool. I want to shape the area going up to the edges now. And like magic, I've got something that, while not perfect, is surprisingly close. Then the next stage is using gemstones, and one of the things I'm going to be doing this week is going and making myself some nice agate burnishes of different shapes so that I can do this more effectively with something that isn't an old bit of jewellery. With this particular one, this tool actually fits in there quite nicely, and I can feel that this isn't 100% cured, but what I am doing by working it while it's still relatively flexible is getting the finish I want, or close to, while also pushing it into the grain and really making sure that there's a very positive adhesion to the substrate, to the guitar in this case. And that's the one. Knowing that, and having figured out that process, well, that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't messed up, so hey, and I did that on purpose, yeah, honest. But also, well, I've got other things that I can now do with this technique, and I'm quite looking forward to exploring that process. Now, the other thing that did happen while I was playing was I realized that leaving a drop of the glue and then putting powder onto that created an interesting texture. And I went in and reapplied finish on this central moon, and I love the effect. End up melting if you do that for too long in one spot. But you can get some very, very cool effects. And I don't know about you, but I want a guitar with this moonscape finish on the entire guitar. Yeah. Alrighty, I am going to leave it here. Thank you very, very much for watching. I'm sorry that this has turned into a multi-part video, at least on this subject. I'm trying to avoid those as much as possible. I've got quite a lot of work to do yet on this guitar, and I am very, very interested in hearing your ideas. What would you do differently? I know a lot of you would put it in resin and just go for it. I don't like that if I can avoid it. It's a valid thing, probably easier, quicker.
Better, stronger, faster.
Using the fish glue has actually opened up some interesting avenues here. What would you do? Why would you do it? And what should I do next on this guitar? I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you soon.